Hello everybody, First is here, today with another new knife project, and it is about this cold steel Rajah 2. I've been looking for this knife for years, and I finally decided to buy it, let's say to do some Christmas present for myself, and I really like it. And the price for this knife surprised me, because so many knives you've seen in my collection, even much smaller than this one, even folders, which are usually a bit more expensive than somehow compared fixed blades. This is very cheap. You remember my Medford Mizuchi, small knife, about 10 centimeters, 4 inches blade roughly. Yeah, premium knife, nice stuff, but I can buy over 3 of these than just one of that one. Anyway, for quick comparison, very famous Emerson Commander, the standard version, 2 recurves. Yeah, I think over 2 of these for price of this one. And this is 154 cm, which is definitely, this is about the steel AUS 10A. So there is not really huge gap between these two steels. And have a look for this one. So this is simply a famous trademark, and this is simply workhorse to build for hard tasks. Anyway, before I do this one, so you've seen the comparison, I will do it in the start. So Emerson Commander, I've got Voyager here, this clip point version, Bowie, if I would say. See, even for somebody are these Voyagers XL too big, too long, and as we might see, compared to this Rajah, it's like a child to it. We can see the thickness in the scale. See, if I put it in the line, the blade length, and especially on this Bowie clip, this is shortened somehow due to this tip failure. See, I broke the tip. You might see this the video where it happens, but see how relatively fine tip on the Rajah is, because here was even finer tip, because as I said, it was about 5 millimeters longer. But see, there is not really a huge difference in thickness of the Rajah tip. So for prying and do something like this one, of course, why should I do that? But anyway, because it is the same steel, I should be very careful about that. I don't expect to use it in that way, but we never know. So that's a very important thing. So anyway, you might see in thickness of that spine isn't like, this is 3.8 millimeters, and this should be 4.8, but I'll go to it a little bit later, because that's not true. Actually, that's not true. And what I want to say is a final comparison, my kukri fixed blade. This is 5 inches blade. So see this, I put them about in the line. So this Rajah is slightly longer, let's say 1.5 inch, about maybe a bit more longer, of 1.5 inches, about 4 point something centimeters. It looks like that. I didn't measure that, but it looks like that. But different in thickness. This should be 4.8. This is 5 millimeters, so thickness is generally the same. Even no, with the handle, this one has a much thicker handle. But in general, you see, if I grab them and line them with my index, see the fixed blade is somehow longer in a blade, and it should be, because that's 8 inches, 20 centimeters blade. And if I go for standard reach, I can use it safely, and I go to this standard reach. Now we can see difference. Now I've lined up my pinkies, so the Rajah got that let's say sweet spot slightly higher, let's say 1 inch higher. So that's nice for clearing brush. Anyway, the place why I bought the knife, because as I said, when I buy a knife, there must be a reason, not only because I said I like it. I like so many knives, but of course I don't have so much money, and anyway, it's wasting money. But this one, this specific knife, I bought because I got a special roll for this knife. But before I start that, it came in this Rajah. We see so many details here. So we got blade 6 inches, which is true, and I show you. Overall 14 inches, yes, which is true. It's slightly longer. Okay, I will say it's about, what I found is about 0.2 of an inch longer on the blade and on the knife opened. Still AUS 10A, what I said. Weight 13.4 ounces, which is 371 grams. It's actually it is not, because when I put this knife on a scale, it showed me 13.0 ounces, which is 10 grams roughly. So it's not a huge difference, but it's a simple difference. So no, this one says 13.4. I said 13, and at 13, this knife is 371 grams. So not light. This kukri of mine, without the sheath, of course, weighs 432 grams compared to 371, or 15.2 ounces compared to 13.0 ounces. So it's over 2 ounces heavier. The fixed blade is heavier. Of course, if we count the sheath, we are somewhere there. But for the reach, the fixed is, of course, sorry, this folder is of course better for the reach, but for the toughness, there's no comparing. We can't compare this one to that one in matter of toughness. Interesting is there was sometimes there were complaints about that. Here in Europe we can get it. It came this one. There was nothing special in it. It came this one with this disclaimer, as I remember. There's the knife is sharp and be careful about that. Okay, but there is a huge clip, as we might see, black one, not silver one, relatively stiff. It really is stiff. And we get another clip for the other side. Someone says on YouTube that we can't have these left-sided clips in Europe from whatever reason. Somebody, and I think in the past, it was somewhere in the past, I said, okay, if there are lefties, there are of course holes in the app for those screws, but there were no clips. Somebody had to order it in somewhere in cold steel or whatever supplier for that. But here it is. So maybe something changed, but I'm glad for it, of course. I'm not lefty. It doesn't mean I don't want to put it into my left pocket, because thanks to this somehow clone or moderate Emerson wave opener, if I can say it in this way, I can put it into my left, and I don't care, left pocket, and I don't care about, how good I am with the thumb, if I can open it or not. Because I can open with the pulling out of the pocket, just as we know, and it will open. So why not to put, if even I am on the right side, I work with my right hand, why don't put it on left pocket, because I can open it somehow same easy as on the right, which is good. And there was nothing extra on it. Okay, price wise, I forget this to say. I'm trying to count it, about 150 US dollars. About, yeah, that's price what I've paid, 150. I know that you said in the US you say, oh, that's, I can buy two there. I don't know what's actually price on Amazon. I haven't checked that, because for me it's important. This price anyway still is very, very friendly price here in my country. That's important. This one cost me roughly 100, 105, something, 110, maximum 110, but years ago. Now they are more expensive, 120, 130, maximum 130. So the price is not that much different. What I haven't said, important is, so AUS 10, AA, as I said, but important is I haven't said that handle scale materials, which is not G10, and I guess it's not like here. This should be the Zytel, how they call it. I'm not sure. there were, sorry, Griff X handle. Griff X should be this one. So this should be probably the same. I can't remember, I'm sorry. But it's not a G10, that's important. It's not G10, not here and not here. So, but this one is really heavy. So that rough stuff, what I said is you can find on different videos. What is important here? When I measure this knife, usually if they said on the folders, whatever blade length is there, that usually mean it towards this point, the start of the handle, which should be all right, should be correct. Sometimes they measure it towards the pivot because they said, okay, if you disassemble the blade, all the blade is long to at least to this point. Of course, it must be over somewhere here. Yes. But which is, I don't understand that meaning, because that's crazy, because I can't use that blade length, I mean, over here, even not here. But anyway, this one is really 6 inches or 15 centimeters, but about to this spot. So this is about 5 millimeters spare, which is that what I've said, that the blade length is questionable and overall length is questionable, is somehow longer, a bit longer, not really huge difference, but it is. If I recount like inches to centimeters, maybe I'm not sure now, it is there. But what I want to say, and that's my plus for cold steel, that it really is 15 centimeters, not short as like someone says. That's what I do like. 15 centimeters, 6 inches, or 34 centimeters and a half overall, 34 and a half. So it's nice machete, like 8 inches blade now. If I hold it, so I would like 8 inches blade. Of course, this isn't the blade, but if I keep this one for chopping, yeah, that's great. That's what I do like. What I don't like, and this is even worse than on some other folders, if they said its thickness is 4.8 millimeters here, which is about 3/16 of an inch. Usually what I've said on cold steel, we might see it here. Yeah, we might see it here. It's thick, the thickness, the maximum thickness. So here on that Rajah is to the ricasso, where the grind starts. When the grind starts, then usually it sinks a little bit down, narrows down a bit. I will say it's a huge difference, and of course it goes straight, or maybe it narrows here, but anyway it goes somehow straight, and then it narrows towards the tip normally. So it's like standard, I don't know how to say it in English, that it goes simply like slowly to the tip, or it changes somewhere where the swedge is, or something like that. It changes to that. Not on this Rajah. That surprised me, and you might see it if I put it here. You might see it by your own eye. There is the maximum thickness on the ricasso. So here it is maximum thickness. That is that 4.8 millimeters. Let's say 3/16. But if you can see, this one somehow narrows. And then it widens, it opens a little bit to wideness, and then it narrows again. I can prove it to you. Wait a moment. I've got a caliper. So I'll measure it in millimeters, because that's important what I said. So I am on the ricasso, you see, because I press that, and now if I release, you see that about, I can see it in mirror. 4.7, 4.8, that's something you should see. Something you should see that. It should be 4.8. Okay, I'll do it in this way. See, I don't change, I haven't changed that. So 4.8 millimeters. Now I go in the middle, somewhere here. .5. It's actually 4.6 what I've tried a couple of times. So 4.6, 4.5 here. And when I go to this spot here, There is the 4.6. Yeah, 4.6. So the 4.8 millimeter is from the beginning, actually from the beginning, from the recast, so it's somehow a lie because it's not 4.6. It's even not 4.8. Sorry, 4.8 here. It's not even 4.8 here. It's 4.56. It widens, and maybe this is 4.6 because this is 4.4 and a half. So you might see by your eye that this is thinner here than here. So I found it, I can see it absolutely clearly from this, like it goes this way and that it's open. It opens, sorry. So for me, it's somehow disappointing. What I'm worried about, why I'm saying this one. This is full flat. This is, by the way, behind the edge. This is 0.6 of an inch, sorry, 0.6 of millimeters, so a bit over half millimeter. Thin behind the edge, so on the top of this silver line, as I said, which is great because it makes the knife, for me, a nice slicer. 4.6 is absolutely all right. 5.5 is, I think, minimum what I had then without something Leatherman, very thin blades. But okay, slicer for me. By the way, how sharp it came. Razor sharp. It's shaving sharp, guys. Yeah, I've shaved my, yeah. Wow. Yeah. It's shaving sharp, so it's sharpness. But the problem is a US 10A isn't some super tough steel. I've proven it, or it's been proven on this when it breaks. And this, if this one should be somehow a chopper, somehow, even it's folded. But I really believe that this one was built for chopping, even it's a folder. Of course, it's different chopper than this one, but this is not definitely your picnic knife or something like this one. And I've got another comparison which I forget, is this cold steel holdout 6. This should be generally the same length or very close length, of course. That's that 6 inches blade. So even this, as you might see, this one is slightly shorter. Yeah, this one is slightly shorter on the blade, the top one. The holdout is about 5.56 millimeter shorter on blade and something on a handle, but it doesn't matter how thin is that. But this is the slicer. This is the slicer. And as I said, what I said, this is chopper for me. If I want to have some really knife for slicing and let's say even self-defense, this is definitely the choice. It's much lighter. It's very tough, but it's slicey, stubby, and whatever you need from your, let's say, self-defense, even fighting knife, if you want to. This is definitely not the case. The tip is relatively dull, doesn't mean it can pierce, but compared to this one, now comparing kukri and dagger in general. So this is definitely much better fighting knife if it needs to be used in this way, fighting knife than this one. Even yeah, there is the guard, but okay, you got very good same or similar reach like this one, and see that's huge. So for as a fighter, if somebody say, oh, this is pure fighter, no, for me absolutely not. This could be a fighter, if not. If you got them in your hand, this is live and slicey and stubby, and this is heavy. This is chunk of knife. Seriously, I was surprised when I get it into my head for the first time. Even when I had the package unopened in my hands, wow. I don't mind if those folders are like a bigger one or a heavy one for somebody say, oh, this is too big. This is different level of the story. This is something I haven't had any folder such heavy in my hand like this one. This is a huge knife, seriously. So that's why I said, compared to what I'm talking about, so this is full flat, so it's meant to chop. I'm a little bit worried about this one, and I'm not happy if the spine, so the thickest, the toughest part of the knife, is even that small way thinned, so weakened. So it's more weaker than that will be in full thickness. As I said again, like on this knife, or even on this knife, 5 millimeters, so 0.2 of an inch in full thickness. Make a line of that 5 millimeters in full thickness, which will end somewhere here. Then do the grind. It will not really decrease of ability, especially on this knife, of chopping, but it will increase toughness of the knife. And of course, it won't bring a huge amount of weight on the knife. I know this is heavy, as I said, but that is, I don't know, 7 centimeters up to about here. That will be full thickness. I don't know how many grams it adds, 5 grams, 10 grams, max 10 grams, no more. So it will be hard to find out. So for the chopping will be much tougher and a bit sturdy. Even it will change a little bit, maybe the grind for the tip, so it will be a bit tougher for chopping. That's what I found. So plus the blade, it really is 6 inches, not somehow 5.8 or something. It's really nice 6 inches. The cutting edge is of course much shorter, because if you haven't realized, this is after the recast. So here we got unsharpened part of the blade, which ends, compare that, which ends here, and there is the sharp edge immediately. There was no any like sharpening choil, and I haven't measured that, so it's 14 centimeters, so 5.5 inches, 5.5 inches of cutting edge. I don't know if what they did it, but I've tried. So I guess when you somehow lock it into your fingers, if you stuck under the guard, so your fingers are safe. I mean safe, because there is not the sharpened spot starts over here. So see that there is a gap, 5 millimeters gap between the sharpened spot and between my fingers. So this is free area for, it can give you a bit. See, still I'm not touching, or the edge, the sharpened edge don't touch my index at the moment still. So maybe it's because of that. The 3-yard log here is excellent stuff, and we know this is not the problem with sometimes you got a new 3-yard log and you say, oh, I can't open it, and then I can't lock it. This one works nicely. We can see huge this stop pin compared to, we got 2 stop pins on very similar length. So see this one and this one. This is, yeah, that one is 4.8 or 5 millimeter, the stop pin. Yeah, 5 millimeter, so 0.19 of an inch about. And this one, I can measure it. 7, sorry, no, that one is 5.9, so almost 1 millimeter thicker. Yeah, I can see the thickness. So the 1 millimeter thickness more makes it, of course, better for stopping. And what's important here, there are steel liners, or I don't know if it's actually steel, but maybe because of the weight, there are steel liners or some liners in it on the full length of the handle. And here, this is pure G10, so there are no any liners. Even sometimes they added it here to reinforce the lock. It is not here, but it is here. But this is, there are aluminum liners here, and I guess because the length of those knives is not that different, I guess these liners are steel, because this is really heavy, and it's not heavy on the blade side, like say, okay, it's cookery, so it should be heavy. Yeah, but the handle feels heavy. So the point of balance is on the choil about, choil. You can have it, you can grab it here, you can go even a little bit further to the blade, you can rest some here for cutting, slicing, or maybe even you can go in this way, you can rest 2 fingers here and then do this one, which is somehow weird compared, but I can do it. This is like knowing position I'm used to in this position, so this is all right, but still the edge starts here, so I got some gap here for that using. Nice one, okay, one grip, grip. This is full, and there's nice the grooving here for your pinky here, for your wrist, and even this grooving here, I think most probably it's made for that when you grab it here. So somebody who designed this knife said, okay, we will use, I don't know if that was on the previous versions, but this is here and it helps really. So I guess somebody said, okay, people will grab it and use it in this way, which is really great. So you got the point of balance somewhere here and you can do your fine stuff. Excellent for this one. The clip is alright, it's somehow long. I've tried to have it on my standard pants. Just pull it out of that. It sits there, but it's heavy. It's 370 grams. It's really heavy. So it somehow my 5 inches blade, like let's say fixed blade, like say Lion Steel M5, very known, even with the sheath is slightly lighter complete than this one. Of course, when you open it, then you are in a different world. So at the moment, I'm very happy with this, only with the thickness. How it's done, I haven't seen any problems. See, the centering seems to me slightly on that side. It's a new one, so it seems to be a little bit on there, but to be honest, I don't care. I don't want cherry picking. See, this one there are some imperfections too, because you can see this spine, the liner, see, it covers. So it's there, so in the middle. So now it's like on the top even, those two, and here it like it like sink down. It's sinking down here. See that a little bit. Just as I said, I tried to find something. This one here, the lock. Here we can see the gap. Yeah, this is really. Sorry guys, my camera was off, so. I was finished, so I finished this one, so this part. So some these imperfections I don't care. We see the lanyard hole. I don't know if I will ever use it. So for me, it's absolutely right. Even if I hold it, really try to squeeze, I don't feel bothered by that clip, which is somehow huge compared to this one. We can see two clips, sorry, how long they are. I don't know why they did it this way, but anyway, but important is if you got it in your pocket, you really feel that. Now finally the thing, I guess it works, I haven't said that, it works on bronze washers, I guess, what I see here, which I like, especially on some kind of expected heavy used knife. Well, as I said, I like to have the pivot a bit tougher, a bit thicker, wider, because you know we got a stop pin thicker, so I don't put that pivot the same. Actually, yeah, seems to me there are. See, this is smaller than this one. Even the size in general is not that difference. So I think they added even this sorry guys. So this is probably thicker than that one. And where are these two? These two guys, what do you say? These two looks very similar. About 9 millimeters, and yeah, these are same. So these from the front here, these are the same, but here on the other side, as you might see, this is wider, is bigger diameter, as I said. So maybe this is a bit tougher than that one. I'm alright with that. By the way, compared with the Zero Tolerance 02, 03, the new one, I like those pivots much more. They are somehow screws like six sided, so hexagrams like. So it seems to me much better. But anyway, for the money, of course, I can't compare it with that one. And finally, what I haven't said is the reason why I bought this knife. What is the role in my collection? It is somehow kukri-shaped folding machete. That's seriously purpose. When I bought this one, I did a review for this one. I said this is great knife for that if you go somewhere, because it's much lighter than that one, even it's long. when you go somewhere around, you are working around the town, city, village, whatever, you go for some kind of forest or something like maybe park, you go to off-road where you might go, and then you go to wines full of thorns or made of blackberries and these stuff. So I say, okay, that sometimes you stuck there because of the thorns. So say, okay, I got this one, so I can chop through this and do this light stuff, and this can handle it absolutely easily. I did it, many times. I chopped with this one branches like this one, and it's all right. Then I definitely don't be afraid to use this knife, which is even longer. I mean, it has longer reach. So that's one great. And there was the recurve where on this knife, it goes, it narrows to the tip, it goes to the center simply. This one does the cookery shape, so it's better for this brush clearing, path clearing, I would say. This one, so brushing stuff around. You go for a camp. That's the role of this one. So many, I can add it to so many my let's say expeditions. Yeah, this stuff. So anyway, where I won't have something like short machete, but on the machete especially is longer, so you got a sheath which weighs something else, as long machete as the sheath is longer, so which adds more length, and when it's long, so you have to pack it around, let's say on the side of your backpack or something on this one. Or you have this one, you don't need a sheath, you can have it even in your pocket, or simply put it into your backpack somewhere where you grab it or something like that, and you need it, so you open it. Now you got, let's say, about 8 inches, especially in the sweet spot somewhere here, relatively further from your fingers, to when you do something, it won't hit you there. It's not for the hard task. I won't chop some especially dried hardwood because I won't be worried about chipping. It's AUS 10, relatively thin, so yeah. But for, let's say, fresh stuff, absolutely. For something like this, so with this curvature, the handle is exactly made for this chopping, clearing. It's absolutely nice. We're gonna see definitely test. I will do definitely outdoor tests for it because I really like it for this kind of role. As I said, I can have something small knife, fixed blade, doesn't matter, up to 5 inches, so relatively even short on this one for lots of these, for eventually for splitting of, if I need to do splitting some hard woods for, let's say, fire preparing, but I don't want to have the wet inside, so not fresh. Of course, I won't be worried about to split something like this one, because I will use this thickest part of the spine, so it should go relatively easy. We need to be careful about knots there. So absolutely right for that. If I will do it this one, so, and it will take a relatively minor space in my backpack, because if I fold it, this is, I can, yeah, there is the weight. That's important. There's the weight. 370 grams. Yeah, I can feel it. Somebody said it's too huge, too heavy, whatever. Yes, of course, depend on where I go. But if I need something just to be backside, I don't want to have, as I said, full machete with me, something like even short ones. This could be something you can simply put into your pocket, or you set up your camp. You put your backpack down. You put this one into your pocket. You got your small knife. And now I see that the R30, which is fixed blade but smaller, much more lighter than this one, but it's fixed blade. That's important. CPM M4. So these two somehow can compare this one. Even we usually take those bigger as a fixed blade and smaller like a folders or something lighter. This is vice versa, but there is a meaning behind that. So I hope you understand the point. Why shall I have this one? And of course, I need to decide if I need it with me, because there is no all the time reason to carry this knife. Sometimes it's simply easy to take really a full, cookery or cold steel or full machete, because of the like full toughness. I mean, because these are full tongues. This is still a folder. But if I find the role for that, in my what I'm planning to do somewhere, then this is definitely a good choice, and especially for the money. That's mine. Even it's expensive, relatively. For the machete 0.170, the short one tops, it's now, and it's 1095, but it's simply generally machete is chunk of 1095 sharpened somewhere under the tip, and that's it. This is cheaper in my country than the machete today. So yeah, thank you very much. Have a great time, and hope to see you with the testing video. Bye.